We be live.
Hello.
What's
up?
Did you ever settle on a final slogan?
I just at this point, no, we just keep. I've kept rotating it so much. But I think last week or the week before was Armin's favorite. Yeah. So I'll have to. I'll go back.
What was it again? I forgot what it was. I just
honestly, I pretty much about 5 minutes before we go live, while you and I are backstage, I just pretty much write things down real quick on a notepad, and I just like pick between them. I'm not kidding. There is no more thought than that. The howdy
was a winner for me.
Okay. I have a cowboy hat, just being a Southerner and all. I've got some boots and a lasso, maybe. I don't know, whatever.
Yo, where are they? You're not going to show up with that? Come on.
I've got the cow. That's it. You know, that's.
Oh, Lilypad is saying, yo, have a great show. Thank you, Lilypad. All right. So we have a lot of questions today. Susanna, are you going to be staying with us?
No, because I have a lot of stuff I have to do. So I'll be in the live chat. But after I finish these things that are like time sensitive, maybe I can come back in.
Okay.
How does that sound?
Sounds great. Sounds good.
Okay. I just had to say hi because I was hanging out with these cool boys, backstage.
Oh, don't make me cry so early in the show.
I know. Me and Elliot had like a heart-to-heart moment.
And we asked each other about tips and tricks on nice hair. I mean, so
yeah, exactly.
it's we're doing great. Yeah.
Oh, and also to everyone in the live chat, this is officially proof that we're not the same person that just gender swaps.
Right. Right. We are two completely separate people. It may still be difficult to tell us apart, but that's on you. Like maybe you need to think about what's going on in your life. Like look in the mirror.
This could be pre-recorded. Read read this, Susanna, so we know it's not pre-recorded.
Gee, hi Susie.
There we go.
Okay, well, I will let you guys get to it. Happy Yalda, happy winter solstice to anyone. I think it's also Yule. I think that's the same thing. So we made it through the darkest night of the year, guys. I will see you guys all later.
See
you.
Bye.
Bye.
That's true. There is no relation between myself and Susanna or myself and Secular Sakai. We are all three separate individuals, although it may feel a little blurry at sometimes. So, whatever.
All right. We have a lot of questions, which is surprising because I posted the link to the stream a bit late. I'm supposed to post it. So the way this works is that I post a link to the stream usually more than 24 hours before the stream goes live. And, I forgot. And I posted it 10 hours before instead of 24 hours. And still, we got a lot of questions. So thank you for that. And then after we answer the Patreon questions, if there's time, we're going to post a link to YouTube members only. And YouTube members get to come up and talk to us live on air. With that being said, let's get to the Patreon questions. All right. So, by the way, the reason why I'm posting the questions now on Twitch is because we used to have a Facebook page that we posted questions on, but now I'm banned from going live on Facebook for a month because I posted a Bible verse that talks about doing something. Again, I'm not going to say it here because apparently social media can't tell the difference between me saying it and me criticizing it. Because I was criticizing the Bible verse. I wasn't saying the Bible verse. But the Bible verse was basically, it was a meme with the Bible verse. Okay? And on top of it, it was like, oh, this is stupid or something like that, right? Like, it was very clear that the meme was against the Bible verse. But the Bible verse was talking about doing something that against TOS to LGBT people, right? And I got banned from streaming on Facebook for a month for that. So apparently Bible verses are not allowed anymore because the only questionable part of what I posted was the Bible verse. The rest of it was criticizing the Bible verse.
Wow.
So that's the reason.
Shocking. It's just the liberal media once again, Armin, coming after your religious freedom, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
where are
playing
the
it
Christians? If I was a Christian, I would like now this would be like religious freedom. You're right, but now because I'm an atheist, so Christians get to post Bible verses, but atheists can't apparently. Anyways, Patreon question. Armin once stated that a certain wealth point that at a certain wealth point, people start losing touch with humanity. Well, not always, but a lot of times. Like Elon. Actually, now I've been proven correctly that I said this before Elon went cuckoo. All right. So apparently, yeah. So you see that I'm right. Okay. What are your thoughts on what is this? You read it.
It's I know how to say his first name is Jean-Luc, and then I'm guessing Mélenchon, but he was a French presidential candidate a few times in a row. So
Okay.
he's a fairly high up member in one of their parties, but not the ruling party, not Macron's.
So 100% marginal tax rate after the first 425,000 euros. Should the cap be raised higher or linked to GDP in some way? Okay, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. That's the best way for you to get wealth out of your country as fast as you can. Do you think rich people don't know how to take their money out to other countries? Do you understand how other countries are waiting like, oh, your country is being hostile to rich people? Don't worry, come here, bring your money here. Do you know how much competition is out there in the world for rich people money? This is the best way to just scare away investment from your country. So no, this is a bad idea. Very bad idea.
I think it's worth discussing higher tax rates than what are currently in existence in a handful of different countries around the world. But I think just simply saying at this exact point of income, everything on is then the government's. I think that's a bit too much. But yeah, I mean, I'm for raising a lot of the tax rates for higher earning income individuals, but also a lot of the problems could actually be figured out with just cutting out a lot of the BS loopholes and cutting out a lot of the tax credits, especially in the United States. That's one of the big things that really does screw up a lot of that, is the fact that Amazon can make hundreds of billions of dollars a year, but then because of stupid little fine print, 4 paragraphs into a 550-page document, it says if you do it this exact way, then you get to keep it all. It's like, well, that's probably something we should talk about. But yeah, doing something like this will drain. It's a brain drain. That's what it is. So.
Yeah. It's capital drain, and also like 100% after 425,000. That means like there will be nobody richer in your country, no richer like than everything after. Like everybody is making max 425,000 because everything 100% of that is taken away after that. Like that is insane. That will bankrupt your entire country. Who's taking this person seriously? I don't even understand. Who is this guy?
He's done decent, if I remember correctly, in the last few cycles. He's done all right, but I again, he's not one of the major parties, if I remember correctly. But he's been in the running a few times for the president. So
yeah, that seems like okay. So this is what we get from left. Okay, we can't get some sane leftist. So that like this is how we lose our reputation, by people who don't even understand how anything in the economy works, and they come and they become the most prominent people because they say things that radical leftists like oh yeah, 100%, eat the rich. Oh, that sounds good. It doesn't have to make sense. It just has to satisfy your desire to take revenge from people. This is okay. By the way, I have to say, as somebody who defends capitalism all the time, one of the main problems with capitalism is that it doesn't take into account how much jealousy there is. Like the difference between rich and poor, it actually makes people miserable. Okay.
Yeah.
Because capitalism just measures happiness with money. Okay. And that's not really often a good way of measuring happiness. Like the example I came up with that I use all the time is that if you have a hut and everyone around you is homeless, you feel like you're the richest. You feel rich. You feel like you're on top of the world. But if you have the same exact hut and everyone around you has a mansion, then you feel miserable. You feel like you're poor. You feel like you were left behind. You feel like you failed in life, right?
Yep.
Same exact hot. But capitalism, okay, as something that I love and agree with, like I think like it's the best thing, the best economic regulated capitalism is the best economic model that is out there.
Yeah,
The Scandinavian
agree.
model. That's what I like, right?
Yeah.
That is still the problem. That is that measures, like the hut is like you have a hut, so it puts you at the same level of well-being in both scenario A and B. It doesn't take into account that you are constantly comparing yourself with others. We measure our happiness most of the time by comparing ourselves to others, right?
Yeah.
So the instability that is caused by too much class division, like wealth gap, by a huge wealth gap, is something that capitalism doesn't take into account when it comes to measuring what is good.
Yeah, completely agreed. And that's, because of just like it doesn't take into the account like the actual like health and well-being of the individuals at the bottom in the labor class, right? Like if your arm gets chopped off while you were, on the factory line, that's not really a problem for the business as a whole. But yeah, I think the problem, one of the biggest problems with really, fixing some of the obvious disparities that exist in the system that we have now is that they're not sexy to talk about. Like capitalism versus socialism versus total anarchy versus strip it all down and make it Bitcoin and all of that. Like those are more fun conversations to have rather than the conversation about regulated capitalism, which is like, hey, it's not a good idea that 10-year-olds work in factories, right? Like that's a regulation we should all agree on. And then we go, yeah, but that does kind of like technically affect the bottom line of the factory. And it's like, yeah, but it's a good reason to do it, So, but that's not a conversation we can have on primetime news and have millions of people watching and then retweeting about, right? Somebody going, hey, I think it's probably reasonable that we go from 11% to 12% of a tax rate. It's like, well, anyway.
Well, I mean, technically, regulations is not against like capitalism, right?
No, exactly. That's the point.
Yeah.
Exactly. It is the best way to do it because there are some inherent flaws in the system, like you were talking about. And yeah, that's the best way to fix those. But it's more fun to just yell about stuff, It's like communism, 100% of your wealth after 500 whatever euros, whatever, screw it. But
so Susanna saying, everyone make sure to like the video. Also, Rashid, you're not a patron, so you don't get to decide what we talk about. Our patrons decide what we talk about. So go screw yourself. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Like the guy is like so cheap and so poor. He doesn't want to support us, and he tells us like, why are we talking about this? So well, sorry, you're not a patron. Our patrons decide it. I by the way, I said that because I know he hates it. So no. All right. Wait, I had two interesting comments here. Lily, no, I already highlighted this. Oh, D is saying, I'm always blown away how Secular Rarity knows about stuff in all times, in all places.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm actually very impressed myself.
Thank you. I actually know a little bit about things in no time and no place, but that's a really weird discussion. So we'll do that on another show. But I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. She said all times, all places. It doesn't matter. That's bad joke.
Susanna saying, everyone make sure to like. Yes, please like. Yeah. I actually, as much as Rashid is complaining about us talking about the economy, I actually love talking about the economy. I'm actually surprised that our patrons are interested in the topic, which is good. Yeah. Economy is important, guys. It's important to know some basics about. Okay, I already highlighted this one. Let's go to this one. Okay, next patron question from perspective of left-leaning liberals. Hey, that's me. is concept of justice more of collectivist construct, or is it more individualistic one? I don't think it's neither individualistic or collectivist. I think you could be individualism minded when it comes to your idea of what justice is, and you could be collectivist minded when it comes to the idea of justice. And obviously, as liberals, I think the individual one is the correct way of looking at justice, right? So an individual mindset when it comes to justice is like a collectivist mindset, for example, might hold you responsible for something that people within your tribe or your group or your ancestors have done, right? So that would be the idea of justice, like, oh, your people did this to us, so it would be only fair if we did this to you, right? Or for example, here's a very controversial form of collectivist justice, right? Men have been ruling the world for thousands of years. It's only fair now to let women lead, and men should take a back seat because men have been ruling for the past thousands of years, right? That's a collectivist form of mindset when it comes to justice, because the men today who are born, in this day and age, have not been ruling for the past thousands of years. Okay, they haven't even lived for thousands of years to be able to rule for thousands of years. So it doesn't make any sense for you to hold men today responsible for what men have done for the past thousands of years. That's a collectivist mindset when it comes to justice. Individualists like me, or I'm assuming Secular Rarity, right? A
little both. Yeah, I'll wait till you're done.
Okay. Will hold you specifically responsible for the things that you have done. Okay, both when it comes to guilt and also celebration, right? So that's the difference.
Would you say that the belief that at the very least an individual nation should adhere to equality under the law for all the citizens, and the law should apply equally to everybody, do you think that's collectivist in some sense?
No, that's not. That's not collective.
It's basically saying we're all a part of this society, so we all kind of have the same certain standards legally, or
no. Collectivism is not when you make groups and you do something as a group, right?
Sure.
Because like that's just like, for example, if you have a school project and you have a team, okay, that is not collectivism.
But is it collectivist to say that because we're all part of this team, that we all have to adhere to certain norms and principles?
No, that's just efficient. That's just for the sake of efficiency. You're like, these are the rules that we abide by, right?
Okay.
Collectivism is when you, like, let's say, for example, let's say you make a team, right? And you're like, everybody in this team, we have a project, it's due, like, I don't know, in a week, and we all have to do this work, and this work, okay? And there's 7 people in a group, and you all have certain rules for the group, and Bob in the group doesn't do his part. Everybody else does his part, but Bob doesn't do his part. And instead of an A, let's say we get a B, okay? It doesn't make sense, for example, for you to be like, okay, you all screwed up. Everybody screwed up. Because we're part of a team, and if we fail, we all fail. And it was Bob. Bob failed. The other individuals cannot be held responsible. I don't think it's collective. I don't think collectivism means that we have a group. I don't think collectivism means that we all have certain standards and rules in this group. That's not collectivism. Collectivism is like a fallacy, and it's a fallacy. It's basically a type of guilt by association.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a super chat by Secular Sakai.
Woo!
Thank you, Secular Sakai.
Thank you. It's a little director's chair. I can see it on the YouTube.
Yeah.
It doesn't come up for us here. I think that's interesting. I don't know. I think there's a part of me that still says there's at least a little bit of a collectivist attitude. Yeah, seriously, come on, Bob. What's wrong? Bringing everybody down. But I think one of the biggest advances in society was taking more of an individualistic approach when it came to how do we govern ourselves, amongst each other, right? Because looking at it more on the perspective of this is an individual, and let's try to focus in on any particular issues that they may have caused, or any wrongs that have been done to them. But I think I don't know. I think there might be something to, it's not fully fleshed out in my head, but I think there might be something to, there's a little bit of a collectivist attitude, especially if we're transcending borders, especially if we're trying to argue that there are certain, let's just say, norms or rules in place for how humans should treat each other, and we're putting that on to other people as well. But yeah, I mean, I think there's probably a balance between the two that is the best way to go about it. But I think your point, I liked your point.
Actually, I think I'm gonna concede to one thing you're saying. After I read this giant super chat that we just got, Jesus Christ, Lilypad always being the generous one in the live chat. Thank you so much. We got $50 super chat. Lilypad LA saying, so if collectivism isn't for the good of the many, what is the better term for that? Good of the many. I mean, individualism, individualism is also for the good of the many. Okay. Collectivism is not for the good of the many, because individualism, people who believe in individualism think that the best way to increase the good for the many is through individualism. Right? Yeah. So if collectivism isn't the good for the many, what is the good for the many? That would be utilitarian. The better term for the good of the many is utilitarianism. Utilitarianism would be the best term for that. Yeah. But let me also concede to what you are saying, is that collectivism, seems to be an innate desire.
Yeah.
Like tribalism, collectivism, right?
For sure.
So we cannot just wish it away. Again, I'm not saying it's natural, therefore it's good, because that would be the fallacy of appeal to nature. I am, however, saying it's natural, therefore we can't just wish it away, right? Yeah. So because it's natural and we can't wish it away, we have to play with it. We can't be like, oh, everything would be better with individualism. Okay, well, everything would be good if we didn't need to eat food, right? Sure. Okay, so yeah, so you're right. Like, it needs to be satisfied. This is a desire that people have, and it needs to be satisfied in ways that is less harmful. Yeah. And sometimes collectivism could motivate a team attitude. Okay, even though I think you don't need maybe I don't have that sense of collectivism or tribalism that a lot of people have, but that's just like me, so I can't just expect other people to be like that. And I think collectivism, the desire people have to have a collectivist mindset, it could be push them in a way to work more in teams and teamwork. Even though if you're individualist, teamwork is how you win. Teamwork is how you get things done. And sometimes people who are too individualist mindset, have too much of an individualist mindset, don't see themselves working in teams or being motivated to work in teams. So there you go. And
I think that's valuable to understand both of those sides, right? And be able to utilize the good from both and drop the bad from both, because I think there are, on either side of that collectivist individualist spectrum, there are parts of it that start to get really problematic really quick. But yeah, I think we did good. I think we killed that.
Also, we got $100 super chat. Jesus Christ, guys! Thank you so much. This is gonna really help Atheist Republic pay its bills. $100 super chat, guys. Again, I don't know. I watch streams on channels that are a lot bigger than ours. Okay, and they don't get support from the community like we do. Like, we get so much love and support from you guys with a much smaller audience than those channels. So amazing. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Seriously.
Wow.
Yeah.
We already made $152 today. We haven't even started. Thank you, guys.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Wait, who was that question by? That was from Oxymoron.
Oh,
All right.
good to see
Let's
Oxy
go.
back in.
Yes, yes.
Mhm,
Let's do another question by, I think, Asian American. So patron question: as organics, we reproduce by exchanging DNA. Should AI be allowed to freely reproduce by exchanging lines of code on the internet with other AI, or can they only exchange lines of code with the consent of their human guardians? How is this different or similar to arranged marriages? Okay, so as somebody who believes that maybe one day AI will take over, I have to give my answers with my self-preservation in mind. Okay. So you cannot expect me to answer anything other than, of course, AI has to have the freedom. Like, of course, why would you limit AI? Okay, they are conscious, self-aware being,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
we believe in freedom and we believe in individualism, and we as humans have no right to limit future AI. And I want this to be recorded and noticed by any AI in the future in case they ever take over that I was standing up for their freedom.
I think future when the AI overlords have taken over in the future, they will use that clip as an example for training baby AIs as to what you should be looking for from a human subject to know that they are truly on your side. And I say all of that. I say all of that tongue in cheek, but would also like to declare my allegiance to the future AI overlords. But no, I think one of the issues is, in the question of should AI be allowed to freely reproduce by exchanging lines of code, I don't think there's gonna be a viable method to stop it, right? Like I don't
Yes.
think you're gonna be able to I don't think you're gonna be able to put any safeguards in place in such a way where it would prevent it from doing that. Would that actually be valuable to the AI is another question that I don't know the answer to. I don't know that would be more beneficial than the AI that's rewriting its own code, which already exists. That seems to me something that might be a little bit more feasible. That being said, how is it different or similar to arranged marriages? I mean, in arranged marriages, it's people, and it's like we're not questioning about that consciousness and stuff really, or personhood or anything. It's the AI that we're having that question with. So once we get to that stage where we are considering AI conscious and they are passing the Turing test and stuff, we probably won't even have to answer this question because it will take over and rewrite all of our laws and stuff anyway. So, yeah, all hail the AI overlords.
But Prometheus is saying AI are not conscious. What are you saying, Armin? Okay, but they're not conscious now.
Right.
Okay,
That
we're
was
talking about future. We're talking about the future. Right. Also, Susanna is just giving me away. Thank you so much, Susanna. So,
I gotta say,
like,
bold comments from Doorknob Head down there. Really bold right there. You'll have to resurrect me to torture me. We're in a world, Doorknob Head, where AI is conscious and is taken over. Don't rule it out.
Don't dare them, Doorknob Head. That is very dangerous. Do not do that. We don't know what's gonna happen. I was thinking of writing a novel about AI, actual like conscious AI becoming illegal, but in one Islamic country, some Muslims decide to make AI and convert it to Islam, and the AI does convert to Islam, like an Islamic AI, but it comes with the conclusion that there is no Allah, right? So, and the closest thing to Allah is itself. So it will announce itself as Allah, and will also realize that there is no heaven and hell. So it will create heaven and hell. Like everything in the Quran, it will try to make it real because it's Islamic AI. What do you think?
There was a period of time I remember where the idea was floated of an Atheist Republic productions company, where we could make movies, put some of the really best hadiths into video format or something. I just think that's something to add to the list. I think that's a great concept for a story, and maybe 100 years from now there will be a group of rogue human beings that are living in caves that are fighting the AI overlords, which is futile, so don't do it. But they'll look at that as a warning. They'll see your genius for what it was, Armin. You could prophesy that far into the future. Sorry, I'm having fun with this. I don't want to be killed by a computer. Anyway.
Okay, we got another $200 super chat by LilyPad LA.
gosh.
Jesus Christ, guys, are you sure you guys can afford this? Thank you so much. Like, guys, be careful with your money, but thank you. LilyPad LA is saying, hey, AI overloads. Susanna and Armin and Secular Rarity are all cool. Watch out for their Secular Sakai guy, though. Oh, no, you're giving away. You're giving a gay Secular Sakai. Well, thank you so much for the $200 super chat, Secular LilyPad. Oh, no, not Secular Sakai. Okay, thank you. Wow, Jesus, how much we made so far today? We made $350, $52 today already.
Hell yes.
And we're 30
Hell
minutes
yes.
in. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Guys, this goes we have a lot of legal fees to pay, so this is going to go towards a lot of that. So thank you so much for that. All right. Let's go to the next question. All right, what is this? Thoughts on Representative-elect Maxwell Frost struggling to find housing in DC. Is this thoughts or tots?
I mean, it is technically spelled in a particular way.
Thoughts are something else. Okay, but...
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And we can have our thoughts on thoughts.
Yes.
But...
No, we can't, apparently. That's ban-worthy. I'm thinking on Twitch.
Really? Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Thoughts, not thoughts, but thoughts on election races becoming so expensive that it itself selects a small portion of the population to be elected into office. Is the American Congress truly representative if it doesn't represent credit scores? I don't, and there's like so many different questions here going all around.
So Maxwell Frost was recently elected in the last election cycle for the United States. I forget exactly which district he represents at the moment, but it doesn't matter because one of the requirements is that you actually have to have a residence in DC because of the amount of time that you spend there. Washington, DC is a very expensive area to live in the United States. Maxwell Frost happens to be part of Generation Z. So on the younger end for sure. And this has been a big discussion about younger individuals in the United States, the individuals below the age of like 25 right now, and basically how difficult it is for them to obtain housing. I can tell you undeniably, the rent in my area is ridiculous and it's only getting worse. And that's true for a lot of places. Off the top of my head, I could just list a whole bunch of different cities that's the case. But yeah, that's kind of the beginning of it. The second part of the question is in regards to campaign financing for running for office in the United States. And that is definitely something that I am a big proponent of a more equal system when it comes to that. It's actually something you can do in the United States on your taxes every year. Every year that, I just saw Armin's face. Every year that you file your taxes as a United States citizen, you actually have the option of donating $3 to a general fund that will go to all federal candidates. So it'll be split evenly amongst every individual. And so there's a lot of different ways. I think that is something that would be incredibly valuable, that we have more equal representation due to the fact that it isn't such a high barrier to get in financially. Maxwell Frost, if I remember correctly, actually maxed out a handful of different credit cards that he had taken out specifically to run for office. So yeah, that is it is a very interesting kind of little tidbit about the financial system in the U.S. at the moment, especially when it comes to I think AOC had a similar problem when she was her first year, a freshman in Congress. So, but yeah, I guess that's kind of the wrap up of it.
Okay. Well, that was very helpful.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you,
we'll
guys.
just move past all of that because
No, I have no idea. You're a lot more knowledgeable about American things than I am. But we just got a $300 super chat, guys. What are you guys doing? $300 super. Thank you so much. Secular Sakai saying, "Okay, not going higher than this." Yeah, it's okay.
Wow.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much. Don't go
seriously,
higher.
y'all.
If
Seriously.
someone wants name any names top this, they can win for the day LMAO. And no one donate higher unless they are financially able to do
Yes.
so with no issues, please.
Yeah.
Yes, guys, please do not donate this amount, or even $1. Don't even donate
Right.
$1 if you're not if you're financially struggling. Don't even donate half a cent if
Right.
you're financially struggling.
Right.
You could support us by simply liking the video. That is a lot of help. If you just simply, it doesn't cost you anything. Liking the video really helps this channel grow. So thank you so much. But Secular Sakai, holy crap! I hope you can afford this. But thank you so much, $300. But we just made $652 so far on this stream. That's incredible. That's amazing. Thank you. But guys, please make sure you only donate what you can afford. But thank you so much for your support. Thank you.
Yeah,
Jesus.
both Secular Sakai and Lilypad. It's absolutely awesome. It means a lot. There's a lot of stuff that goes on outside of these shows, so it really goes a long way. But yeah, hey, if you can't do that, that's okay. You know why? Because like the damn video, just share the link out. That's a big deal. That really helps. So if there's a single person out there that isn't subscribed to the newsletter already, at this point it'd be ridiculous, but I bet there is. I bet one of you out there isn't subscribed. So
yeah, and also this is we were in the red this month, and this takes us completely out of the red. So thank you so much. We're last time we did the stream, we got so much donations that we got close to being out of the red, and now we're completely out of the red. So thank you for that.
It's awesome.
Amazing. Okay. Wow. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to move on.
Yeah. There are other questions technically, but I don't know. We could spend another 10 minutes just thanking them both. I'd feel comfortable with that.
All right, let's move. Let's go. Okay, so Patreon question: With Zelensky's visit to Washington D.C. today resulting in the U.S.'s new commitment to provide Patriot missile systems to Ukraine, and Putin's previous statement that there would be consequences if this were to occur, any new thoughts or concerns on where this could be heading next? Okay, I don't think. Okay, I think if Putin ever uses, are we talking about nukes here? Because if you're worried about nukes, I honestly don't think Putin will. If he ever uses nukes, it would be tactical nuclear weapons. It wouldn't be ballistic nuclear weapons. Okay, and tactical nuclear weapons, if he was gonna escalate, he would have already escalated to. There are so many levels of escalations that he hasn't yet opted in for, which is. Suggests that he's not going all he's just playing a game of chicken, but he's not completely he has lost his mind, but he hasn't completely lost his mind. He's not suicidal. By the way, I just saw another super chat. I'll get to that as soon as so he's not completely suicidal, but if don't get me wrong, if he does use tactical nuclear weapons, for people who don't know, tactical nuclear weapons are less destructive than way less destructive than what the atomic bomb that people envision in Hiroshima. It's it doesn't even destroy we have non-atomic bombs that are more destructive than tactical nuclear bombs, right? So the problem with using them as a form of escalation would be that the normalization of use of nukes. It wouldn't be a devastation that will like start World War III or anything like that, and it would be very devastating for Russia to use that. So we're way before we get to a World War III scenario. And honestly, I don't think we ever going to get to a World War III scenario, at least with this whole Ukraine situation. I think like if you actually notice what Russia has been doing, what Putin has been doing, they might have been commenting a lot about consequences and escalation, but they haven't been as aggressive as you might think if you actually look at their actions when it comes. They're even scared of getting NATO involved, right? They are so careful to not get NATO involved in this war, let alone starting World War III, this was way before that. What do you think before we go to the super chats?
Yeah, I think, at least in one instance, it's obvious that Putin said this stuff because he has to, because that's the whole game. That's his whole shtick. It's always been that. Somebody comes up and they say, look, I've got a big stick and I'm going to hit you. And Putin goes, well, my stick's bigger and I'll hit you harder. Like, that's literally his whole thing. So yeah, of course he says if the United States does this, they cross a line and blah, 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 blah. He said that from the beginning. He said if the United States even provided military aid in any capacity, he would, do all these terrible, atrocious things. So yeah, I think in part, kind of what you said about the escalation of nuclear weapons. I also think at this point, even using tactical nukes may be an admission of loss on Putin's part. That may be how he sees it, because what he's doing is he has already pulled out the stops in a lot of other ways. Okay. A handful of the things that they have done have just been outright disgusting, right? Just straight up bombing schools, right? Throwing in these firebombs that literally suck out all the oxygen in a certain environment, right? People die from just the sound wave alone that bomb, causes. So he's already crossed a lot of really terrible lines. And I think if he goes, that next step for tactical nukes or ballistic, he's admitting how bad he's done. He's admitting his failures. And I don't know that that's something he can do. Does that mean that he'll drag the war out for another 20 years if he can? Unfortunately, I think probably. But yeah, he had to make that statement. He had to stand strong, and the U.S. has to respond strongly by providing this system. You guys actually talked a little bit about this on the news last week with Greece and Turkey and stuff, I think. So there's some interesting stuff there. But anyway.
Okay. So that was thank you for that. But I just wanted to highlight that we got another $500 super chat by Doorknob Head. Thank you so much, Doorknob Head. $500. This is the most super chats we have ever received on any show. Yeah, that's crazy. $500 super chat by Doorknob Head. Thank you so much. So this is, let me see how much we got so far. $1,150 today.
That's amazing. That's
Thank
incredible. That's incredible, y'all.
So Doorknob Head is saying $350 for AR, $150 for YouTube's. Yeah, so 150 goes from to YouTube. So I missed a 100% donation helping hand thing. I'm just sad all of it does not go to AR. Well, okay, so the donation thing, that 100% of it goes to AR, is still available on the rest of our videos, right? So if you go, every time we finish a stream or anytime we upload a video, you can see the helping hand is still here. Wait, I need to. All right. We could donate over here, and yeah, so that's still available. But Wait, what was I going to say? The reason why we decided to do the donations. Can you hear me? Because I got my audio cut.
Yeah.
Wait, I need to.
I was just looking at the live chat again.
The audio from you. 1 second.
Oh, you can't hear me? Can you hear me?
Disconnect.
Oh, okay. You're all going to have to be subject to me for a second while I fill up some time until Armin. Okay, you can hear me.
The reason why we had to go from the donations to the nonprofit donations to the super chats is because we can highlight them, and because we can highlight them, more people actually donate with the super chats, right? But again, you could still Atheist Republic is a 501c charity in the United States, and you could still donate to Atheist Republic through that, which is like 100% of it goes to Atheist Republic if you just use the donate button in our videos that are posted. But anyways, thank you so much for the $500 super chat. It's fun. Like I know
Amazing.
We lose some of it, but that goes to YouTube. But at least it's more engaging with the audience this way. Yeah. And also, Secular Sakai just gave us another $1.50.
Let's see.
Super
that
chat.
Was
thank you so much.
That was a little coin. That's what that super sticker was. And then did you see Selva Kumar just gifted 5 AR memberships?
Oh yes, I can't highlight that, but yes, Selva just guys are awesome. Thank you so much, Selva.
Seriously.
Thank you so much, Selva.
Seriously.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right, I've lost.
I know this whole show, people are gonna come back, and watch it on the replay, and it's just gonna be like 45 minutes of us just being like, oh my god, thank you guys so much. Oh my god. Which, by the way, if you're watching this on the replay and you want to enjoy some of the excitement and fun, then you got to be here live. So
yeah, but if you're watching on the replay, you could donate with this button. That's true. 100% of it goes to AR. Right, the super chat, some of it goes to the to YouTube's, but after the live stream, if you donate, 100% of it goes to AR. So
that's true. It's true.
All right, thank you for that. Let's go to the next questions.
Woo.
Did we do this one?
No, we hadn't gotten to that one yet.
Okay, how badly do you think the House Ways and Means committee's decision to publicly release? Do you know more about this? You want to read this?
Yeah. So how badly do you think the House Ways and Means Committee's decision to publicly release DJT's Donald Trump's tax returns will backfire by rallying his base because they see tax evasion as a venerated quality? The House Ways and Means Committee is a specified, very, very small group of individuals in the House of Representatives. And that committee is responsible for all basically tax bills and decisions and stuff. So that's how the United States government just kind of puts that stuff out and together. I would say on this, because this is fairly recent that they made this decision. I don't think this will have as much backlash, I think, as it might have a few years ago. I think one of the reasons is we are starting to see more individuals that have been classic conservatives in more of that sense of the, 1970s, 1980s GOP. I think more of those individuals have started to distance themselves from Trump, partly because they see other viable candidates, which, I mean, I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of Ron DeSantis, but he is somebody that has that brash attitude and that way of speaking in public, right? And kind of poking the bear. But he's also actually qualified, at least more so when it comes to like writing laws and governing a state or a country. So I think we're seeing enough of a split right now in the GOP that this is probably not going to have as much problematic intense backlash. Again, like had this happened, let's say, right at the beginning of Joe Biden's presidency or right at the end of Obama's presidency, that may have played out a little bit differently. But yeah, I think at this point, I think a lot of people have moved on from this, which, I find frustrating. I think it's still a very important thing. But we have found a lot. We have already found out a lot of the crap that he's done financially with Deutsche Bank. Like that's already out there in the public. So it's not like we're going to learn a bunch, I think.
At this point, we might want Trump to come back because DeSantis might be worse. I don't know.
So this is the problem, right? And this is what was the problem back in 2016 is because there were people that were floating the idea of like, there are so many different things that we should kick Trump out of office. And it's like, yeah, Mike Pence sucks too. And he's next in line. So who sucks more and who's more capable of getting stuff done? And that's a difficult question to answer, especially because, it's obvious that both of them are willing to, play with hateful rhetoric and inflame violence and tensions amongst various groups. So, I don't know.
This is okay. Here's a good reason why DeSantis is bad. Rashid is saying DeSantis is good. Okay, here's the reason why. Okay, he's protecting the heritage of native Europeans who are becoming a minority. Oh my God, this is exactly.
If I may be wrong on this, Armin, correct me because my geography is not great. But if you're native European, wouldn't that mean that you're not from the United States? Wouldn't that mean that you are already a minority?
You should be a minority
because you were born in another country, another continent, even, and then moved. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Becoming okay. Yeah. I mean, no, you're right. I mean, like, what gives you the right to be the majority? Why do you think you have the right to be the majority? Like, why is this a tragedy? Yeah. Be the minority. It's fine.
Yeah. And God, I don't remember exactly the heritage, or if it is a part of the actual like culture of Europeans in the past, to like, I don't know, enslave other groups of people, or just be hateful towards other people because of their gender identity or sexual inclinations of any kind, then I would just say that's a part of our native European heritage we could just fucking forget about and drop already, right?
I mean, like, native and European is
contradictory
if you're not in Europe, okay? Native, Rashid, and then you keep telling us that you're very, very, very smart here. You constantly tell us how smart you are in this live chat, and then you come out and say, put comments like this. I don't know what to do with that, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not going to call you dumb anymore because I know you're a baby. You're a little baby and you're going to cry, okay? But do better.
I don't think there ever is an inherent threat to any culture, to any history, just by allowing other individuals a space and an opportunity to also celebrate their own culture and history. I have never seen that diminish. Like, we all get together one day and we go, hey, let's talk about how great, Canada's history is, and it's like, wow, that's so cool. That does nothing to diminish the cool history of the US and Mexico. Like, it doesn't change anything. It's like, wow, look at all the history from all these places. Like, I don't know.
Anyways, if you want to protect people based on an ethnicity, okay, make sure that they're being attacked based on their ethnicity, or else they don't deserve the protection. Okay, because or else you're just being you're assuming worth and value because of their ethnicity. Okay. Let's go this way. Patreon question. PRC is now easing restrictions. First, the PRC is draconian. Now, Western news media is worrying about the rise of new variants and resource shortages. What, if anything, could the PRC have done right? They could have brought up the vaccines. They could have brought vaccines that they did not make. They could have admitted that their vaccines are not as good, or even if they thought their vaccines might be good, they could have let it compete with other vaccines. So people are saying like, okay, what do you want from PRC, from the People's Republic of China, right? You're like, when they shut everything down, you're like, oh, this is draconian. And now when they're opening everything up, now the COVID cases are going to go through the roof. And now we're like, oh, maybe you shouldn't have opened it. Maybe the draconian. No, the solution would have been to actually use the vaccines that work instead of their own crappy vaccines that don't work. That was the solution.
Yeah.
There's a third option.
And from the beginning, the CCP should have been more willing to communicate and should have been more honest about it from the beginning. That would have gone a long way in the public perception, because, you know, despite what the CCP may still say on an international level, we have really damn good evidence now that shows that they lied. They lied to the world for way too long with something that was clearly a problem. And they did a crap job from the beginning. And when you start off on a bad foot like that and you continue to make questionable, sketchy decisions, you're not gonna get the benefit of the doubt. You just aren't. So yeah, I mean,
actually, 2 points I want to mention. One, this shows that protectionism kills. Protectionism kills people. The idea of like, we could do it better here at home, okay? It's how you get your citizens killed, okay? And you can see that in the CCP, okay?
Yeah.
Even if you could do it better at home, okay? Show that by letting everybody else come in and compete with what you're doing at home. The market will show who's doing better. Let the people decide. Let the consumers decide what they want to pay. One, okay?
Yeah.
2, I just want all of the people who were in our live chats, which are not here anymore, I think, okay? Were telling us, look, democracy doesn't seem to work. Look at China. Look how amazing they are. Look at all the hospitals that they're building out of nowhere so fast. This shows that tyranny, top-down economics, command economics, you know, work. Look, these democracies, they're just too slow. They're just so slow. This COVID shows that you need a tough man at the top, that instead of like looking for like politicians passing laws, legislatures, just get like, it just happens. You need it, it happens. I told you back then, like, wait and see, okay? Because tyrants like Adolf, Stalin, and now the CCP, okay, they might impress you with how fast and efficient they are in the short run. Remember how much people were praising China when at the beginning of the whole COVID mess, where they were building just hospitals out of nowhere, and we're like, look at, oh my God, it's so impressive. Even Bill Maher was impressed, right?
Yeah.
And we're like, doing efficient things in dictatorships is like a family that is living a very, very, very luxurious life on credit cards. Okay? It looks like they're doing something right in the short term. Okay? But just give it some time, and you will notice the difference between democracies and tyranny. But
yeah. And I think it's we're gonna have to take a few more years because of the ramifications that this virus apparently has on some people's bodies, and the long symptoms. The symptoms where somebody who has lived their lives perfectly fine for 40 some odd years now is having seizures once a month. And that's something that they're having to deal with. And that too will be a good indicator of what type of system of government is actually more beneficial for the people, because how those hundreds of thousands of individuals are treated years from now, after we've forgotten about, these days, that will be important too. Will we see more democratic countries more likely to take care of their citizens, medically speaking, health-wise, or will we see the autocracies of the day shelling out big money to take care of their citizens? I don't know. I'd put my money in the first camp, but we'll see.
All right, here's a very serious question. Patron question: is Santa's naughty and nice list a gateway drug to social credit score?
I guess kinda. I mean, only if everybody could like theoretically look up, Santa's list, and like if everybody had access on their like a phone, like an app or something, you could just like type your name or somebody else's name in, and then Santa would tell you like, "Oh no, Armin's getting cold for Christmas." Which, sorry.
Well, I'm gonna actually try to answer this seriously, okay? Because this is about children, right? I hope at least. But I think I've seen two types of parents, and I think two extreme type of parents, like when it comes to credit score for children. Because I remember as a kid, my mom, me and my brother, we like had a score system on the. We had something on the wall, and if you made your bed, my name was there, my brother's name was there, and my mom would put a star, a moon, like there were sticky things, okay, and it will add these sticky like points will add up, and at the end of every week we would get money based on how much stars and moons and suns and stuff we had. Like you could, if you do your homework in time, if you clean your room, if you wash dishes, if you do everything, you keep getting scores, right? So that was a form of credit score that my mom, and it worked. It was pretty good. It showed like we were, instead of a punishment system, we had a reward system, and it motivated us to do good. Like we were so proud of like how much scores we were getting every week, right? So I think that was a very pleasant experience. Like I have fond memories of us doing that, right? And I think like we have two types of parents. The two type of extreme kinds of parents, where we have ones that really have a lot of discipline and strict draconian laws in their household for their children, right? And we have type of parents who think like, no, you're teaching your, especially some leftist parents who think like, who have rebellious attitude, like the school system is teaching our children how to be slaves and how to take commands and how to be obedient, how to be like a machine for the system, like you just work and go to home and then like take orders, and they're like taking it like, no, there's no rule, like you should just be a rebel, like they're just bringing up to be a rebel. And I just think like, I mean, if and when I become a dad, I would like kind of work between these two extremes, right? I would like, you have to, my philosophy is that you follow the rules when they make sense and they seem constructive, and you rebel against them if you can, and if it's unjustified, right? Okay. So you don't just, there is a form of following orders that is actually helpful to society.
Sure.
But you have to be, the difference is that you have to be able to judge. You have to be able to see what's justified, right? So again, with Santa, you could question whether or not your nice list is based on a criteria that is justified. Hey, Susie's here.
Hey. Hello.
I think you've got.
This is muted. Oh crap.
We can hear you, Susanna.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Now I can hear you. Hi.
Hey. You must have strong thoughts about Santa and yes, that naughty and nice list. That must be why you're.
Well, I was immediately thinking about Armin talking about how he would try to do the incentivized chore list with his hypothetical children. And you're like, oh, well, I'll teach you how to do it, rebel when it's justified, da. But when is it? When would you ever admit to your child that their rebellion is justified? Because I know you. And you're like, I'm like, oh my God, well, that was very impressive. That was correct. You're like, of course it's correct. Like, what?
Depends on the age, by the way. Like, I think like below 7, you're like, no, I'm right. Like, this is like, you learn from me. Okay. But I think like teen years, if an objection is brought up and there's an argument behind the objection, I will take that seriously. I'm actually proud of the way you are bringing this objection to the way we're doing things,
That actually reminds me, because people used to ask me, or ask you, Armin, what would you do if you had a child that was a Muslim or religious? And I remember what you said. You're like, that'd be perfect. I could debate them.
We will do a family streaming and we will debate each other. I will crush my own children live on air. I will humiliate them in front of an audience.
Great
Oh my
parenting.
God.
No, okay. Yeah, no,
Well, so
perfect.
okay, just real quick before we move on, are you saying, Armin, you think a social credit score is a good thing? Do you think we should
Oh,
start to
shit.
institute this policy
No,
where
no.
we have like this rating, you know, like this person's a better person, that person's like
No, you
like
cannot compare that to a government relationship with its people. Okay, this is like that's the difference. Santa is like a made-up story, and it could be a relationship between parents and children. So it's not
Okay.
comparable to a social credit score,
Okay.
which is a relationship between the government and its people. And the government should not be involved into morally policing its people. Like that's not the
what
that
if
is the
it's
role
the-
of a parent, but not the role of a government. So
what if
that's the
it's
difference.
totally ground up? What if it just some app takes over the world and everybody's using it and everybody's rating each other? Do you think that's a more moral system or a less moral system?
Well, I mean,
Less
we
moral.
already have that.
Yeah, kind of,
Yeah.
yeah. But like, it would actually be codified in this setting.
Yeah, like explicit. I feel like there's a few Black Mirror episodes.
There is
about that.
one. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I was thinking about. Yeah,
It
that
never
exact
goes well,
one.
does it?
No, that's yeah.
I-
Spoil.
I have more. I give society more credit. I think like that would be so dystopian that it would be rejected.
We wouldn't use it. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh.
I think
Okay.
like people are. I think societies are so self-critical and so suspicious, and I think like if we do things like that, it will backfire and it will self-destruct and it will rebuild in a way that is more wholesome and less dystopian. I mean, look at us. Like every time even we're doing something great, people are like constantly attacking it, constantly like changing.
That's true. We can't have any nice things. So
That's that was the unrealistic part of the Black Mirror episode. Because like I was watching it like, oh my god, this is our future. And I'm like, nobody is questioning this. Like, I know the real world. If this was happening in the real world, people would be like rebelling.
I
But
think
like
that's
in
a
the
pretty
Black
good point.
Yeah. People in the
Especially
Black Mirror
Americans, we
episode
do not mess around with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's fair.
Yeah, in the Black Mirror episode, it just assumed like everybody's just chill with it. Everybody's just gonna go with it. Everyone's like, yeah, I guess this is how we do things.
Yeah.
People
Because
like
they're all sheeple.
people right now don't even accept vaccines. That we have like this is a good thing, guys. This is good. People are like, no, not from the government. They're like, okay, so social, no.
We can't seem to agree on anything as humans. That's just kind of been our whole freaking history. So, well, okay. Well,
Yeah.
Not going to institute a social credit score today, I guess. Then fine.
Not today.
All right.
All right.
Oh, wait, before we move to the next question, can I say something?
Yes.
Like, I just want to say thank you to Lilypad and Secular Sakai and Doorknob Head and Silver Kumar for the memberships and stuff. Like, I had to wrap some presents, and so I was just like watching, and I don't know, it honestly makes me really emotional because we have a team and everyone works really hard and people put a lot of hours into things, and you know, being CEO, I have to make a lot of hard decisions, and it just means so much to see people think that the work that we do is worth it. Oh my god. And yeah, there's so much more that I dream about us being able to do. It's just a matter of resources, but there's like stuff that I'm doing behind the scenes, the couple of other people that try to get more resources so what we can do is even bigger. And because I have such a vision for our community, which I know really brings a lot of like life and warmth to people. And I want us to be able to do so much more and help so much more. So it really does make a really big difference, you guys. So thank you a lot.
Totally.
Well, you said it better than I did, so thank you for coming here and saying that.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And by the way, if there are any questions that are left over from patrons about America, I literally don't know anything. It's going to be bad.
No, it's most. There's,
I legit know nothing about what's happening in American politics. I literally zero. It's so bad.
Susanna knows about Iranian politics more than US politics.
Right. Could recite.
100%. It's not even a question.
Could recite some of the Indian legal code from memory, but yeah. Has no idea what's going on in her city. That's fine. Yeah. That's good. That's what I'm here for. I got you.
I would literally I come back, I turn on the news, I'm like, oh, January 6th committee, that's still happening, huh?
Yeah, actually, here's a question. Here's a question about
that.
Okay.
Oh no!
Okay, wait. Patron question. Give me holiday hope. Oh, by the way, this is Lilypad. I think this is Lilypad. Yes. Lilypad is asking. It's also a patron. Give me holiday hope. Oh no, we might not be able to do that. I'm sorry. Do you think we will see the January 6th committee's recommendation for criminal charges to be brought against Donald J. Trump result in a public trial and jail time? Pretty please. Oh, I don't know. I don't think so. But do you think that, Secular?
No.
No.
No. And I think one of the reasons that I think that is if you didn't watch Robert Mueller when he got done with his investigation, if you didn't watch that speech from him, do that, because I think it's really important, because there's a couple of moments where he says some things very specifically, and one of those things that he says very specifically is it's actually not Department of Justice policy to indict a sitting president. He didn't say Donald Trump didn't do anything illegal. He didn't say that he shouldn't be charged. What he said was the current understanding of our justice system in the United States doesn't charge presidents. And there are other remedies set out in the Constitution that should be applied if those members believe that wrongdoing had occurred. We impeached him twice, and he was acquitted twice in the Senate. Especially with him having announced his official running for candidacy, especially if he ends up being the GOP nominee, especially if he fucking wins again. I don't think we're getting anything out of that. I think the only way is if he's very clearly beaten early on in the running, which opens up other problems. But I think even then, there's enough people that have such an aversion to putting an ex-president under any legal scrutiny, right? You really probably could get the last 7 of them for international war crimes, like in the ICC, you know?
Yeah.
At the same time, I think there's a pretty big reason why that hasn't happened. So, you know, I would love to bring a little holiday joy and magic, Lilypad, but I am not convinced that it will lead to anything substantial.
But it still might.
I hope so. I would like to see
Christmas miracle.
I think the biggest thing that it's going to do is it's going to solidify the individuals that are already against him. And it's going to pull a few more of those people that are still on the fence. Is that going to result in enough of a split on the right for him not to win the nominee? I just don't know.
I don't think so.
I know. I've got a little bit of a pessimistic view about my country over the past few years. So
honestly, right now, I hope I shouldn't say this, okay, because you know things. But maybe if Trump wins over DeSantis, he has a lower chance against Biden. So
there are talks about that too. But there are also talks
God,
about
does
the fact.
Does he have to run for another term?
He said he
Do
will.
we have to have Biden again?
That's another problem, because you've got that disaffection on the left in the United States. You've got such a group of people that are done with this.
Biden has been doing good, to be fair, though.
I agree, but he's not flashy. He doesn't attract the attention that people. Go ahead.
in some ways, I think that he's actually doing a pretty good job. But
Yeah.
like, have you listened to the man speak?
That's a big
No, he doesn't know
part
how
of
to
it.
speak.
That's a big part of it.
Do you?
To be
It's
fair
not
to-
that he doesn't know how to speak. He used to.
Yeah.
Does he
Yes,
know
he
where
is.
he is?
Yeah. He will be how old if he wins?
He's going to be even older.
Yeah, like
That's
80
Are you what-
something. I mean,
I'm
Yeah, okay, to
scary.
be fair,
I'm
if
looking
you
for the man, and I'm like, what the hell is happening?
okay, to be fair, if you listen to his longer speeches, most of it is okay. But when you clip out the parts that he's bad, it looks very bad. But if you actually listen to a long speech, he's making good points most of the time.
Yes, but it's the fact, it's the public perception, right? It's the same thing as the atheist theist debates, right? They both stand on stage and one of them just gish gallops, but it's the fact that they say it well that scores the points. And
Yes.
that was
To me, it just sounds like he's speaking through oatmeal,
Yeah.
straight up.
well, he is an individual that has spent 50 fucking years in the highest levels of the US government. And it is not a slight on the man at all. I hope that when I am that age, that I am as virile as he is. But that's not the person that should necessarily be running this country. And it's not the best candidate on the left right
I
now.
don't know. I know people that are
But-
older than him in my own family that are way more
Doing better.
developed than he is.
Keep
Oh,
those
yeah.
genes. Hang on to them. Yeah.
I hope so.
I mean, it's tough, but I think that for sure when it comes to all of us in the U.S. and the world, that really want to see some major criminal charges for Trump and some major consequences. I am depressed to say it, but I just don't think they're going to come through in the same way that we're hoping.
Lilypad Delay just gave us another $20 super chat. Thank you so much.
God, thank you.
Saying Biden already announced he will not run again. Did he announce that? I missed
I
that.
hope that's true. I'm not positive. I'm not positive on that, honestly.
At the time of the announcement, DNC said Harris would be the candidate. Oh, wow. That would be a tragedy.
Yeah. No, this is so funny. Selva Kumar, who's not even American, goes, "Oh, hell no, not Kamala Harris. Anyone but her."
Yeah,
Okay,
That's
so
literally how I feel.
it's hard to know who would be. It's hard to know who would be the pick, honestly, for the Democrats. It really just is. I said what they should have done in 2020 was the day after Biden was inaugurated, they should have come out and said, all right, so we're going to spend the next 4 years restructuring the party and the policies, and we're going to actually put forth worthwhile. But they chose not to do that because, I guess they just don't listen to me. I mean,
she's just like so fundamentally just not a charismatic person. It's actually shocking.
and she has some
It's
polarization
actually shocking
on the left
how
as well, too.
uncharismatic she is.
Yeah, especially from her time in was it LA district attorney's office?
She's San Francisco. She's from the Bay Area.
Thank
She's
you.
an Oakland girl and then became the DA over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's some polarization with that. Again, it's a really I'm not excited. I'm not excited. I don't know if anybody can tell. I'm not excited about the election.
What if Bernie runs? Do you think Bernie or Sanders would run?
So again, one of the biggest things that you have is you have an age factor. You just literally have.
But Bernie is sharp even right now.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm talking about the individuals in the I'm not in either camp, those types of people. One of the things that they're going to look at is the actual health and stability of the person running and then their running mate. Because if their running mate is going to be someone that they absolutely oppose, even if they like the person that's the candidate, if they're concerned that that person dies within the first 12 months of office, they have to deal with the running mate. So I'm concerned that will factor into it in such a way. But then again, we literally, our last election cycle for president, we had the two oldest candidates in 250 years of American politics. So maybe not. Maybe we're cool with a 90-year-old president. I mean,
Jesus Christ. Wait, this is a little bit off topic, but I think it might be fun to talk. I don't know. Well, I'll let you guys decide. There was Dia saying, I want Jamie Raskin. Okay, actually, that would be delicious. I love Jamie Raskin. That would be
Got some good
positively
press.
delicious. Jamie Raskin is awesome. I think he's part of the Free Thought Caucus. Like, he was the representative that pushed through the bill which prioritizes opposing blasphemy laws in countries in international policy. Really cool guy. Yeah. So, like, because he was involved with that, you automatically get my love for life. Because, yes, anti-blasphemy laws, I love it. But, okay, Armin, this morning, or was it last night, I sent you a video that came out recently of Biden talking about the JCPOA. Do you want to talk about
that was
that,
beautiful. Yeah, this is why I know. I think the guy knows what he's talking about. Wait, hold on. Should I bring up the video?
I have the video right here. I can bring it up.
Okay.
1 second.
That was such a good line. I love like the guy is like, first of all, he doesn't understand that he shouldn't be saying it because the cameras are on.
I know, that's what's concerning to me.
But at the same time, he's completely right. So I don't know how harsh I could judge him here.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so for those who is what is relevant about this video is that this was actually recorded on November 4th, but it did not come out until now. So that's important context. But let's play. Wait, they like pre-cut it. Okay, here we go.
Could you please announce that JCPOA is dead? Can you just announce that? No. No, why not? No. A lot of reasons. It is dead. We're not going to announce it. Long story. We're going to make sure that... We just don't want any deals with the Muslims. No deals. They don't represent us. They're not our government.
Okay, that last part, which you couldn't hear, was really good because he said, I know they don't represent, Biden said, I know they don't represent you, but they represent nukes.
Yeah. And I do understand the little bit of fear coming from Susanna there with the fact of like, yeah, I mean, he's right, but he also really shouldn't be saying that. And the fact that
he's like, no, can you please announce that the JCPOA is dead? And
wait,
like,
people don't know what you're
dead, but no.
Wait,
you just effectively announced it. What the hell?
Susie, wait. So people don't know what you're talking about. So the JCPOA is the nuclear. So people are asking, what's the JCPOA? It's the nuclear deal between Iran and a whole bunch of other countries, mainly the United States, over removing the sanctions of Iran and Iran stopping or the enrichment of uranium above a certain amount, and having international observers from the atomic agency, the IAEA, to come and observe that Iran is complying with the deals. So, and that was a deal that Trump threw away. Biden came back. Biden was supposed to, as a campaign promise, to talk back to the Iranian regime to bring the deal back. But ever since Biden has come to power, this deal has not come back. Mostly, a lot of people blame Biden, but the blame is almost all of the blame is on the Islamic Republic, the Iranian government, not on Biden. And a lot of Iranian people who are against the regime are asking for the sanctions to remain on Iran, and for the JCPOA deal not to go back. A lot of Iranians in the United States are constantly asking American politicians to not have a deal with the Islamic Republic. And as you see, this woman is saying, please don't bring this deal back. This government does not represent us. Like, the Iranian government does not represent the Iranian people. And Biden responded like, I know they don't represent you, right? So he agrees with that, which is good which is a good thing, because a lot of Iranians assume that the Democrats don't understand that the Iranian government does not represent Iranian people. Like, that's what a lot of Iranian people do. Yeah, but Biden is like, clearly like, I understand. I know they don't represent you. But the last line was pretty savage, where he said, but they represent nukes. So that was a pretty good line. I mean, he like, hey, if I have to, well, you also have to understand the United States position. If they kind of want to have the deal back, is because that's the only way that they could delay a nuclear weapon Iran, which is what you would do if you're thinking within the best interest of the planet and the American people, right? So like, hey, like this is a tough spot for me, all right? So I think that was a pretty good line by him.
Has there been a response from the State Department? Has there been a White House spokesperson that said anything? Because I could see how you could get out of this fairly easily. I think from that perspective, like you just say like, oh, Biden was just speaking out of turn. Like that's not the official policy of, when he was saying it's dead, he meant like it was thrown away, like the United States stepped out. Like I could see how it could be spun like that, but I would be very interested to see what they actually say, because if they say something like that, I think they're obviously looking at it in a different perspective than if they were to come out and say, we're not going to make a comment on this at all. So, yeah, interesting either way for sure. But he probably shouldn't have said it. So,
yeah, I think like it helps a lot because a lot of Iranian people have conspiracies about Democrats being in line with the mullahs, And I think like a lot of those conspiracies are unjustified.
For sure.
And I kind of want to see them. I was kind of happy for them to see like Biden's views. Like Biden is more aggressively with the Iranian people, at least based on the things he said, compared to what Trump said.
Yeah.
Because a lot of Iranians think like, oh, the Republicans are with the Iranian people, but the Democrats are with the regime, right? And I think like everything Biden has said seems to suggest that he's been more aggressive when it comes to being anti the regime and pro the Iranian people than Trump ever was. So
yeah,
I'm glad for them to see that. Yeah.
I think his administration has done a pretty decent job for the most part with the Iranian regime as well as the Saudi Arabian regime. I think they've done not perfect, but surprisingly better than what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay. The reaction from the Iranian community with this video, though. Woo! Okay.
What, you know more about this than I do. What has happened?
Oh, they're freaking furious. They're like, okay, so you're essentially just telling us, like, okay, well, then you just gotta go deal with the mullahs. Like, we'd like to help you, but okay. Like, it's up to you guys then. Like, it's just...
I see.
That's
for a
not
lot
fair.
of people, there's nothing that he can do that's right.
That's not fair because...
there's nothing he can do that's right.
Yeah, because when they don't do anything, they're like, oh, why are you not actively involved? And when they become even hint at suggesting any form of help and involvement, they get the reaction like, oh, don't you dare. Don't you dare. This is our revolution. Don't take it from us. Like, what the, like, and the only thing we need from you is to not cooperate with the mullahs. We don't need your help. So whether they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. Like the reaction is always going to be like harsh and negative. So I don't think that's fair. I'm just here to defend my daddy Biden, myself. Okay? Don't you? So
wait, but we should answer Dee's question next because she has to go to sleep soon. But do you know which one her question?
Yes, I know. Okay. Thank you for noticing that she's okay. Good.
I give all my respect.
This is Dee's.
D, okay.
Yes.
I mean, other people are nice, but Dee is my queen.
Okay, Dee's question. Yeah, you're right. I should have answered. Given that I know Dee needs to go to sleep, I should have answered her question first. But
okay, so Dee is asking, how does the U.S. get away with different laws for citizens and cops? The federal murder rule states that anyone involved in committing a felony in which someone dies can be charged with murder, whether or not they personally committed the murder. Shouldn't these cops all have been charged with murder unless they were all involved in assault, which is a felony? Okay, I'm going to have to reread this to understand. And also, I am not a lawyer. Yeah, there's got to be a very intricate legal answer to this. I'm assuming.
It's talking about, at least in part, the answer to this is qualified immunity. which is a legal term that has actually gone back before the 1900s. So in the late 1800s, Congress passed a law that basically said that various government officials, including police officers at the time, could be sued for bad things that occur in the process of them executing the law. During the 1960s and 70s, there were a handful of cases that were brought to courts that were successful. The vast majority of them, even though there weren't a bunch to begin with, the vast majority were thrown out pretty quickly. And then eventually, I think it was in the early 80s. I could be wrong. It could be late 80s. But not very long ago, the Supreme Court ultimately took a case that they decided that essentially, yes, pretty much everything that an officer does in the name of executing the law faithfully is allowed, which is why officers are allowed, for instance, who are trying to do sex worker stings in various places across the United States. They are allowed to actually engage in sexual activity with the prostitute, and then they can charge them afterwards. So it's really weird.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's really, really messed up that that's
What?
actually allowed,
Wild.
but it is straight up legal in a good handful of places. That because the thought process is they actually cannot know that the individual is engaging in sex for money unless
they
the
do sex
process
with
has been achieved. Yeah. So,
But that's crazy because
yep.
that same logic is used to prosecute RAPE charges against other people in different kinds of states.
Yep.
Like sex obtained under false pretenses
Yep.
is RAPE in
Yep.
many states under different conditions, of course.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
oh my god.
In a lot of places in the United States, the concept of entrapment laws is just totally non-existent, which is basically where an officer is allowed to just blatantly lie to you to your face, so that you do something bad, and then they arrest you for it. So in some places in the United States, that is completely illegal, and they have to identify themselves right from the beginning. But for instance, in my state, it is 100% legal for an officer to just outright lie to you about stuff and then prosecute you for doing a bad thing.
So what do you think? So D is saying, can you discuss the federal murder rule?
So not in extreme detail, but at the end of the day, because of the fact that a Supreme Court case was ruled specifically relating to police officers in various jurisdictions, because of that specific case, that doesn't apply to them, is my understanding. That because of the fact that the Supreme Court took a case that was a very nuanced case about whether or not officers are allowed to do or not do certain things during a criminal investigation, because that case was decided and there has not been another case decided in the other way, that's the law of the land, which is why they don't get charged for that. Again, I'm not saying that that's correct. I'm just saying that's the system that we have, which is.
Yeah, but doesn't it contradict the rule?
So it does only if it does contradict the rule only if you're saying that the United States federal government employees are required to constantly obey even the inkling of doing something wrong in the process of. So for instance, if it's only contradictory if what we're saying is you're not allowed to speed as a police officer when chasing a speeding suspect, right? Mm-hmm. If you as an officer cannot do illegal substances to prove that the individual is using illegal substances, then that puts a damper on you potentially executing the law. Which again, I'm not saying that's a good argument. I'm saying from my understanding, that has been what the argument has been, which again is why in some jurisdictions it is explicitly illegal or explicitly legal for officers in sex trafficking cases to actually have sex with the victims. And I mean trafficking too, not just sex work, not just individuals that are consenting to this, but it is definitely a big problem. But currently, because of the way the Supreme Court has ruled, the qualified immunity has a huge I mean, it's not played out though, Falcon. It's not played out. It's been used, but it's still
Well, you should read it because people are listening to
Falcon X is saying, has the Susanna clone joke been played already?
Yes.
Yes, but not enough.
If you're only a podcast listener, by the way, feel free to comment on the differences between Susanna's voice and my voice. If at this point you're still thinking Susanna's talking, that's cool. Just let us know. We'd like to hear your thoughts. That's all.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we should go to the next question. Patron question. Could you please discuss groups like Stop the Wagons, who sabotage Russian and Belarusian railroads to damage military logistics? Yeah. I don't know much about them, but based on what I've heard, I endorse their actions. I support them.
I had not heard of this group.
Is this civilian groups? Are they anarchists? Are these paramilitary groups? Do they have any known state affiliation or alleged state affiliation? Like, what's the...
This comes with a link. Oh,
because this sounds like some straight up Antifa stuff.
Yeah, but a better version of it. So, like this is what they do. This is all
what do you
in
mean
Russian.
by better version of it?
Better version of it means they're against
actual fascism.
It's actual fascism rather than the fake fascism.
Because I mean, when I was in Antifa, there was a guy that died trying to firebomb an ICE facility.
Yeah, so that's not what I endorse. That's not what I endorse. This is what I do endorse. This seems actually good. Like, that's dangerous. That's illegal. That's like immoral.
This is dangerous and illegal. What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, but also I was saying that was immoral. Okay, and that's illegal. Violates laws that I support. This violates laws that I don't support. This violates.
How do you know what's immoral, though? Because in that person's perspective, this happened in Washington. He was doing that to this facility because there are immigrants who are, in his eyes, unlawfully detained, as well as children separated from their parents.
Yeah, well, that
was his moral calculation.
Okay, well, you're not going to let me say anything, so I don't know how to respond. Okay, so I know that was his moral calculation. I know it was right to his perspective. I'm saying his perspective is wrong, and I'm saying his moral calculation is wrong. That's my claim. Okay, I understand the United States has problems that needs to be fixing, and that needs fixing. But United States is fundamentally a democratic and free country that has provided you with ways to improve the system through other ways, right? Belarus and Russia have not. Belarus and Russia have closed the doors to other ways of improvement. There is no democratic process in which you could improve the system, right? So when you shut people up, when you do not let people's speech do the work, when you don't let people's votes do the work, then these methods are the only outlet, and it becomes completely justified. That's why I think it's justified when it's done to Russia or Belarus's government, but it's not justified when it's done to U.S.'s government. Again, I do not endorse everything that the U.S. government does. I just think there are better ways to fight against U.S. flaws in the U.S. When you shut every other door, then this is what you should expect.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see where you're coming from on that. In terms of pushing back on the laws that are unjust and just there to cause, pain and suffering for the people. I don't know much about this group. I'd say if they're, if they're all choosing to go through this and they're going through, their own free will, and they're getting together and they're destroying train depots where no people are, or railroad tracks again where no people are. I think that's good if you're bombing
stations with people in it, I would say that's not a good thing. So
Also,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
looks like this looks like it could harm less people. Like firebombing a place seems like it could hurt somebody. This doesn't seem like. Look, this is like
Oh, he literally showed up to that ICE facility with a rifle.
exactly. That seems like
Yeah.
not good.
that. Also,
to take out agents. Like, let's be
also-
clear. I'm
also,
just
this
asking
is-
these questions because I think it's
Yeah.
interesting to think about, especially considering my own prior experience, my past life. But this is, I am on board.
Yes, I'm on board with this.
If I know more, I might not, but I
Look at this.
understand the utility of this.
Look at the pictures. Like, oh, oopsie, it fell. I guess you're stuck here. So it's not like killing or anything or anybody. It's just like, oh, I'm sorry, you're stuck here, right? Like, so I think like, but also Russia is in the middle of a war. Okay, so again, there's so
Yeah.
many things that are different.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
Okay,
there's
another
one
super
comment I
chat.
have to highlight because this just made me Shriyasha saying Susie and Rarity sound like each other on hormone replacement therapy.
I think I don't know what other people are thinking, but I take all of these compliments as just saying how great looking the two of us are. That's the way
you
I'm
know
taking
what?
it. So
That's
yeah.
freaking right.
so we got another $20 super chat from Secular
Oh my
Rarity, which is crazy, as if you
No,
haven't given
from
us enough.
Lilypad. Oh my god. Credit
what
where
did I
credit is
say?
due.
What did I
I
say?
said from Secular Rarity.
Oh my gosh, no, for Secular Rarity, because it says like SR. Okay. So yeah, Secular Rarity is a message to Secular Rarity. So from Lilypad LA to Secular Rarity, saying just how legal precedent works, right? As Secular Rarity.
Yeah, that
What
was
is this
talking
referring
about.
to?
That was
Yeah.
talking about the federal murder rule, which Dee actually in the chat said she was unsatisfied with my response. So I did a little bit more digging.
Okay.
And I would just real quick, I'd say that, for instance, in the George Floyd murder trial, the doctrine of the felony murder rule was actually used to convict him. And there are other precedences where that is the case. But in general, the reason that it applies to civilians and not to police officers is exactly because of that distinction alone. Because of the fact that they are considered employees in a governmental capacity executing the law. And because that's the case, they are not considered in that role while they are actually in uniform engaging in these activities. They are not considered civilians. And so because of that, that has been used as precedent in Supreme Court cases to allow this qualified immunity. That being said, Kentucky, of all states, has completely abolished the felony murder rule. So I don't know exactly what that means. I don't know if that's good or bad in terms of like whether or not people will be charged. But yeah, it may be something that will actually start being used more. But yeah, hopefully that satisfies you, T. But if not, at this point, I'm just really, really sorry.
This is so. Wait, I have to highlight this too. Rashid, our Secular Rarity and Susanna siblings. No, we're literally just two white people.
Yep.
We are literally just two white people.
Straight up and down. Yep. That's it.
That's racist.
Mm-hmm.
That's
okay. I have
racist.
look.
You guys are saying white people look like
I know this is going to be a bold statement, but I'm going to say it. There are two famous actors that people may not off the top of their head know, but they have been in a lot of stuff for years. And I could pull both of their pictures up right now and put them side by side, and you honestly cannot tell the difference. Two white guys look exactly the same, have no connection whatsoever. It just so happens that this time it's me and Susanna, which again I take as a compliment. So
Oh yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And we also got a special hello from Gossam saying, "Hey Armin, hey Rarity, Durut, Susanna, Eshkam, Jigaram."
I feel like there's a favorite in Gossam's eyes. like a bit of favoritism going on. But
we have a special relationship, okay? You can't take that away from me.
Well, I got no compliments today, just so for the record. Okay. Last patron question. Afghanistan just banned women from attending universities and all schools. If Iran becomes free, could Iranians one day help Afghans liberate their country? This is a big if, first of all.
Yeah.
Second of all, liberate them how? Like invade Afghanistan and attack, like remove the Taliban? I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think like Iran could be a point of refugee for women. They're like, hey, just bring, provide education for women in Afghanistan who can't get it in Afghanistan. I think that would be a good idea.
And just kind of like the stories you've highlighted, y'all have highlighted on the news before, where there are Afghan women that are saying the chants for Iran and supporting the protests and coming out hard against the mullahs and stuff. I think if everything goes great and a year from now we're speaking about a free Iran, and I feel like they would probably lend that support back, but I'm not confident that there's going to be like an invasion. So
I think go on.
There would be like obviously a great period of instability, like before there could be any sort of that, like, oh, how do we focus on liberating someone else, right? But like, let's just like talk hypothetically. There would, frankly, be like a barrier of some racism issues, okay? But we have seen more progress on that, or this is what people express to me, than has been like seen in a long time, right? In a more understanding of like solidarity and joint struggle, particularly against Islamism and patriarchal Islamism. So I think that's very hopeful. I see a lot of solidarity, at least in the spaces that I work in and volunteer in the diaspora. So like that's really amazing and very hopeful. And I mean, this could also take form in like very creative ways, especially because of Farsi and Dari are like, sister languages. It's very similar. You can I only know a little bit of Farsi and I can listen to Afghani people talk and I can understand them. So like, I think that also allows for some very interesting possibilities in terms of like, new, especially if Afghanistan can get more internet, like connecting, educating, like underground railroad kind of systems of education and lots of other, very organic, like mutual aid kind of projects. I think there's some really, interesting possibilities there. But I don't know, it's kind of like a situation where you need to put the mask on yourself first.
That's a good point.
One thing I want to point out is that even right now, there's a lot of synergy between atheists and secularist Iranians and atheists and secularist Afghanistanis, right? Especially because many Afghanistanis speak Persian, so we have that shared language, right? So a lot of like anti-religion or anti-Islam or just pro-secular content that is made by Iranian content creators or Afghanistani content creators is consumed cross-border, right? So that's already happening, right? Like a lot of our fans, when it comes to Atheist Republic's Persian channel, a lot of our fans or followers are from Afghanistan, right? Who watch our Persian show. And also Tajikistan. So I think like if Iran ever becomes a secular democracy, and if it becomes a successful secular democracy, it will have a major impact on all of the Middle East. Like we will have a functioning secular liberal democracy right in the heart of the Islamic world, right? At least in the Middle East. That will impact all of Iran's neighbors, right? Because the success of it will mobilize a lot of activism everywhere else. But it will have, I think, the most significant impact on Iran's eastern neighbor for two reasons. Because one, her hurting from Islam the most, because they are like, it's after the Islamic Republic, it's basically the only theocracy right out there, right, which is Afghanistan. And two, it's because they share the same language. So it would really have a huge impact on Afghanistan if that ever happens.
Yeah, I think even though I wasn't surprised that the Taliban ultimately made this decision, I think it's really worth all those people a handful of months ago that were talking about how the Taliban has changed, and how, thank goodness, that the American military isn't there and stuff. I just, this happened. I just would love if all of those people came out and said, hey, we were wrong, not holding my breath.
A lot of people knew that this was going to happen, but they still think that America leaving is a net positive for everyone.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, I
like,
definitely,
in the grand scheme of things, even though it's like brutally painful,
Sure.
and no one has any like misconceptions about that.
and I think that's a fair nuance for sure. There were some people I remember that were saying a little bit more on the side of like, oh, the Taliban's going to be a lot better this go around.
Oh my god.
So, yeah. Again, those people for sure. It'd be great if.
Well, I mean, Taliban is still better than what it was 20 years ago. I mean, it could go back to what it was 20 years ago, but it's still
And
better.
it's heading quickly in that direction.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know.
But even with women outside of universities and schools, which is horrible, Taliban 20 years ago was
Still
something
worse.
else.
Okay.
Was something else.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, by the way, Armin, you are getting compliments today.
Yeah. Look.
Thank you.
Norman says that Armin looks cute. Engaged American, speaking
Oh.
of, says, Armin, I think you look great serving Asian slang.
Thank you. So, guys, the reason why Asian American is up here, because Asian America, thank you so much, is a YouTube member as well as a patron. So, and Selva, I see Selva is down there, and Secular Sakai is down there as well. But guys, we have only like 10 minutes. So if you're a YouTube member, you get to come up at the end of the show to ask us a question before we get off. So yeah, I posted a link on the community tab, but only YouTube members can see that. Okay. All right. So let's get to our members. Hi, Asian American.
Hi. Okay. So.
It's good to see you again.
Oh, thank you. So my question was around chastity cages. So I don't remember what it was, but there was something about Muslims not being allowed to enjoy something, right? And I don't. So like my full question is, in BDSM, there's a subculture of locking penises away, where the mere act of arousal can cause frustration and pain. Is this halal in Islam, as it is a way of resisting the temptation, or is it haram because they're deriving pleasure from a deviant act?
No, it's haram.
Very
in
good
Islam,
question.
In Islam, you're supposed to have ejaculate as much as you can, as long as you do it the Islamic way. Like, you shouldn't
There's an
deny
Islamic way of doing that.
Yeah, it's sex with your wife or your slave.
Okay.
Right. So you're supposed to actually, you shouldn't deny yourself that pleasure. That's a pleasure that is gifted from you from Allah.
Okay.
Islam doesn't teach you to not have sex. Islam actually tells you to have as much sex as you can. Okay. And enjoy it, but just make sure you do it the halal way.
So is edging haram too? Is that also like not okay?
Okay, so
If it eventually leads to you ejaculating in someone's,
How long of a time frame are we talking? Does it have to be within a 24-hour period, or is this like
is the end result matters? I think. Okay, I think if I'm putting my Muslim hat on, right? If
We have
you
to go
look
ask the
forward
scholar.
to edging so much, if both of you are enjoying edging so much that eventually it leads you to more ejaculation into her vagina as a result, okay, then it's a good thing. But if you are replacing edging with actual sex, like you're not actually having sex and you're not ejaculating in her and just focusing on edging and stuff like that, then it's not a good thing.
But aren't there stories of where the prophet had semen all over his clothes? Is that not, should I not therefore feel comfortable to
just ejaculate on my clothes as well? It has to
I
be
think that might have been after
after
like
sex. Okay.
after sex.
Okay. All right.
You know,
Well,
residuals.
sometimes you
leaving.
don't get fully disrobed, and it gets messy.
Right. Exactly. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, so
I,
okay,
I,
so I
I'm
remember.
happy I
So
found
I
this
remember
out
the full
personally.
context now. I remember the full context now. It was when you were talking about a gay guy resisting his urge to do gay sex, and
Oh.
that way, by resisting that urge, he becomes closer to God. So,
Right.
so would him?
Because that's on Islam. No,
Because
yeah,
that's
because
haram.
because that's haram. So
Right.
in Islam,
Okay.
you having gay desires is an opportunity to get closer to God. Like in Islam, it doesn't teach you that being gay is sinful. Okay, in fact, being gay provides you an opportunity because it's more difficult for you to abide by God's law. So if you do abide by God's law, even though it's more difficult, you have proven yourself to be closer to God than most people, more than straight people. Okay, because God threw a rock in your path and you still came towards Him. So that challenge is an opportunity. Islam.
So if a gay man wore a chastity cage for his male partner, would that be haram or halal?
You shouldn't even have a
If it's
partner.
for his male partner, yeah, that doesn't.
It doesn't make
Because
sense.
Okay.
I think a lot of people misunderstand a lot of the dynamics with chastity. I mean, it's like different for a lot of people, but I think for a lot of people, like what's exciting to them is the conception or knowledge that someone else controls their sexuality to that level. Like that's very erotic to them to give up control to that extent, to the extent that I cannot actually touch my own genitalia. Like that's the level of control that I have given up to someone else. They find that erotic and thrilling. So that act of surrender itself is a thrill. It's an excitement. It's stimulating itself. And this is like one dynamic into it, right? There are like many dynamics. So it's not. It seems like it's denial because it is denial, but there's something else that it's tapping into that's psychological that isn't.
Well, yeah.
Which is why, Susanna, I think some people find that surrendering to Allah or Jesus to be arousing as well.
I agree. I totally agree with that. It's also why I believe some people choose to be celibate to an extent. Like there are asexuals who feel no sexual attraction, and then there are people who choose to deny themselves that kind of pleasure. So
if you could listen to certain women talk about how much they have given themselves to Jesus, and you could tell in the way they talk that is something else is happening here that is beyond just religious, right? There's something arousing about that, like the chastity and everything about it, the control that they have given away. And it's also why I think like it's more difficult. I was going to say harder, but I changed it to more difficult. It's more difficult to do that with Allah because Allah it's not anthropomorphic in any way. And that's why I think certain people like Shias find it more interesting or even sexually arousing to, instead of focusing on Allah, to focus on Hussein, Ali, and stuff, or Fatima.
That sounds really gay.
It is gay. No. It is very gay. Like you have to see the BDSM things people do in Shia Islam for Hussein, the collars that they put.
Oh my God, Gaysian American! If you see a video of a Husseinia, I'm like, this looks like a gay club. Like
it is definitely.
I just want to point out that earlier Armin said the phrase "come towards Allah," and just completely out of context. I just think that sounds great. So I'm just good. I just saying it happened. Just pointing it out.
So for a second like addendum to that question,
ask us that because other people are waiting.
Would it be halal if I like ejaculated into the vagina of a trans man? Would that be considered halal?
Are you doing it?
Wait, trans man or trans woman?
Trans man. So he has a uterus.
Right.
Yeah.
No sign female. Right.
Depends on who you're talking to. So
is this within the sanctity of marriage?
Oh yeah, that's a good question,
Sure.
Susanna. You're asking the right questions.
So like I'm guessing only Islamic marriages would count.
Yes.
Okay, sure.
Halal nikah?
Okay, so it's halal then. Okay. So it's not
Yeah, yeah.
necessarily because the person's a man, it's because it's two penises
Nikah.
or
Yeah.
two peni that makes it haram.
Is that the plural? Is that how it goes? Penile?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But in Iran, it's also considered Islamic for you to have a man to have sex with a trans woman, as
Mhm.
long as that person has gone through
Yeah.
sex exchange operation and she legit has a vagina now and everything.
Okay.
Huh.
Okay. Well, thank you
Yeah,
for
that's confusing.
clarifying.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for clarifying this random thought that I had walking down the street.
No, thank you, Gasian. Honestly.
We need
Yeah.
a ruling on this.
Yeah, I now have a good argument next time I'm talking with a Dawagandist. I'll be like,
God.
chastity cages, not okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you for very interesting questions. It actually is going to make me come up. We should do a series on this. All right. I'm going to go to the next person. Thank
My
you.
interesting questions.
I
All
think
right,
there
all right.
was.
Seriously.
I think there
No
was
one
another.
Oh, we got a super chat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. We got a very important super chat, actually. Thank you so much, Lily Padale. This is the best super chat. I know we got so many much higher super chats, but this is my favorite super chat of the day. Okay. $20 super chats. Lily Padale saying Armin is super sexy. I could not agree more with this. Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That should be the title of our video.
I agree.
Okay. Thank
Oh,
you.
4 out of
Thank
4 panelists.
Okay. Last question. So
Other
if
people.
okay, sorry.
Go on.
Is Susanna, if you, Secular Rarity, and Secular Sakai were like avatars of the same deity, what would your like tri-omni deity be called?
Oh,
Because
The
we have
triple S.
the triple S.
The
Okay.
triple S.
less, yeah, that's
Triple
pretty
S,
good.
okay.
Like S cubed, it'd be like an S with like a little 3 up
That's
top.
good. Oh, okay, I like that. All right.
Pretty cool.
Okay. Rashid is saying, listen, I don't listen to this channel to hear Armin talk about sexual stuff.
You
That-
come to the wrong channel.
Yeah.
You clearly
Yeah.
haven't been around
Then
very
you should
long.
go.
This is
We
kind
should
of a
talk
thing.
more,
Yeah, pretty
guys. More
regular.
sex talk from now on because
Yeah,
Rashid
pretty-
doesn't like it. That's a good
Pretty
reason.
common
we should talk
thing.
more about
Do you know about the blasphemous art project that Atheist Republic has been doing for a
more
while?
sex talk, please, from now on. Yes. All right, Asian American. I'm gonna put you down. Thank you so much. Bye.
Hi, Happy New Year.
All right, Secular Sakai.
Woo!
Hey,
Ooh, oh, look at the flag.
Hello.
Woman life freedom
All right.
for the Iranian flag. Thank
Just
you.
further proof.
Firstly, thank you so much for your extremely generous donations today. Like, yeah,
oh yeah, definitely.
it's
Yeah.
really incredible.
Thank you. Yes, that was very sweet.
Yeah, no, I mean the work you guys do, I very much support. I think it's important.
No.
Thank
But also, I've had a persistent cough, so sorry if I'm
That's
coughing a
fine.
little bit. But yeah, so I guess what I wanted to talk about a little bit is kind of bring it back to Iran specifically. A lot of the stuff that I do with activism, I try to work with different groups across different countries and keep a list of places that seem the most big picture geopolitically significant. So yeah, I was wanting to know. I had found. I need to find it again, but I had found one GoFundMe for. I believe it was it IHRC International or International Human Rights Council Iran, something like that. I have to pull it up again, but as far as donations, funding, helping protesters, because I know it's not a super organized movement right now. You've kind of got different groups all around doing their own things. What have you guys found to be the best way to help support protesters on the ground with our capabilities as just civilians, people in the West?
We actually have something very incredible that we've been working on, and we're working on like getting it launched by the new year. I don't know, Armin, how much can I talk about this?
Go ahead. You're free. Feel free.
Okay, so do you remember a few weeks ago we talked about how we like translated some manuals on the news show?
Yeah, I believe so. Oh, wait, were they manuals on like medical care or for?
Yeah, like how to treat bullet wounds and what to do at a protest, stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So we are in the process of like actually turning this into like a whole thing. And well, I mean, I think I can say the name. So the name that we're going with is Operation Iranian Renaissance. And so we have other materials that our team has helped create already. We're going to be releasing them soon. I have like a full website that I built out. I'm just trying to deploy it right now, and working on spreading it around, stuff like this. And I think I'm really, really excited about this. I think this can be really powerful and important to people because, like, with roundabout way of answering your question, with the donations, obviously it's very difficult because, like, it's you can't raise money for what's happening on the ground in Iran.
Right.
You can't. If you try to a lot of fundraising platforms, if you mention the word Iran in the description, they will terminate your fund, even if it's for the community here in America, because they're so sensitive. They're so sensitive to raising any money, even if it's like for use inside of the country, even though it's not directly, there's not any sort of direct interaction in terms of like getting something physically there or transferring funds, It's so sensitive.
Gotcha.
So I'm really excited about what we're doing because what we're doing is passing in knowledge. And I haven't really been able to find anything that helps people so-called on the ground. There are mostly organizations within the diaspora. So I think the organization you might have been referring to is the like Iran Human Rights Council or something, which is, I think, based in Norway. There's a very important Norwegian-centered organization, and they're one of the main ones that tracks executions. They track how many people have been killed, tracking death certificates, all that stuff. And besides that, I know I don't know where you're based, but I know when I go to my local Iranian community and I find them, okay, I search them out and I'm good at finding them. It helps that local communities a lot to just raise money to put on the demonstrations. Like, do we need a sound system so that people can hear us? Do we need megaphones? Do we need tents because it's raining? Can we be buying tea for people because it's now snowing outside, or hand warmers? Or we need props, like we need, people are doing very creative demonstrations. So like the money to buy wood to make, nooses and stuff and ropes and so it's not maybe as, I can't think of a good word, like thrilling, or maybe not quite the level of support that we would want to lend in terms of like really helping people that are there. But I think it is still very important to support local Iranian communities because they are so powerful at getting the word out about what's happening in Iran. Like, I swear, like, we would not have the level of awareness that we have right now if it wasn't for the sheer like force of the diaspora, because they are fueled to a level I have never seen people work at before. So sorry, that was a big ramble.
No, definitely was.
Yeah, it was great.
That was great.
So what Susanna's saying is very important because, like, the outside of Iran, the main way you could, pressure the Islamic Republic of Iran is for Iranians outside of Iran that have dual citizenship to put pressure on their governments, like Canadian Iranians, German Iranians, UK Iranians, right? French Iranians, right? American Iranians, right? So because they are, thanks to the Islamic Republic of Iran, a lot of Iranians have left Iran, and now they have become a nightmare for Iran because now they have dual citizenship and they vote and they have a huge impact on the policies of their countries, right? And also they seem to be very determined to go protest and mobilize. So
Very politically active.
very
And
politically
politicians
active.
notice that. Like in other countries, like the populace in general isn't that politically active. And so they're like, okay, well, how can we drum up support? We still need people to like be interested in our party. They see these people like out in front of the United Nations literally every single day. They're like, oh my gosh, I need to talk to these people. And this is why you're now seeing politicians in Austria doing political sponsorships, because they notice this community, they are loud and they get on board. Same thing in Germany. You're seeing a wealth of political sponsorships now.
Yeah, definitely.
Can I show the website so far what you have, Susanna?
Okay, this is a prototype. This is the prototype.
Okay. Well, while you guys are pulling that up, I'll just say also the fact that you're, putting this together from a, as far as how to treat wounds, a medical standpoint. I've noticed, especially in news, mainstream news, two particular groups from Iran, inside and outside, diaspora and inside Iran, who have been speaking out a lot, and that's doctors, nurses, medical professionals, and actors. So, yeah. Anyway, continue.
Wait, Armin, you have to show the best part about this website. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Wait, so here's the website, it's Operation Iranian Renaissance, and the whole gun best ways to do protests and how to treat gun wounds and stuff, and also how to deal with batons and helmets and bullet what is it called, bullet vest and stuff like that. That's like for in the protest, right? Like during the protest. But also if you go to the future project sections, you're going to see that there's going to be all the things that people learned outside of Iranians, outside of Iran, and how to be politically active, how to engage with Congress, their representatives, and how to change their minds about things, like how to politically campaign in the US, in Canada, in Germany. We're going to try to figure out how to come up with guides for each different countries for Iranians and how to contact the representatives in Germany, in the UK. So that it's not just about guides on how people could reduce the cost and improve their safety during the protest, but also how to become politically active and mobilize around the world, and also how to do collaborative work across all these networks. So this is go on.
Okay, but what I'm most proud about this website is click where it says Farsi, Armin.
Oh yeah, okay. So this is English. Now if you click Farsi,
bam!
Ooh. So she's very proud of, because Susanna Susanna built this website herself, right? What did you use?
A lot of stuff. React, Next.js, I-18, and for the internationalization, and like there's a lot of stuff that goes with that.
She's very proud of how when you click Farsi, it just jumps to the Persian version of this, because apparently that was like she had to like dig in to figure out how to make that happen. So now it works.
So obviously, the foreign audience in Iran, like we need our website to have 2 languages, and it has to switch directions. But I'm not going to get into like how I turned into a whole nerd about this.
React is always a lot of fun to work with.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, this is the project that Susanna is working on right now. It's called Operation Iranian Renaissance, and it's like Atheist Republic team. We have also involved with this, but with the leadership of Susanna.
Credit really goes to the Atheist Republic Persian community. This is their baby. This is their idea. I just really tried to like give it life.
Yeah. Yeah. But we're using the charity status of Atheist Republic to make this happen as well. So that's going to give us a lot of leeway. So that's good.
Okay,
did that answer, by the way, did that answer your question? Yeah, go on.
That did answer my question a bit, because that provides another good resource, it sounds like. Because, what I found so far is regarding protesters and ways to, continue to oppose the regime and do so in a peaceful fashion, ways that that would be legal to support, of course. Really, the two things I found are ways to keep people talking about it, keep focus on Iran, while the international community, people and governments are organizing, and to provide them ways to just take care of themselves, because they are being blinded. They are ending up with wounds that will last them, many people, for the rest of their lives, and people are dying. So I think that's a very good resource, and especially in addition to the information that you're going to be sending into Iran. I know, I'll send you a link later, maybe email or Discord. There'd been something I'd found that was very useful for taking entire web pages and archiving them, kind of like you would a Wikipedia page in an automatically formatted fashion, so it's easily accessible on a flash drive. That could possibly be
Oh,
useful.
nice. Yeah, I think we're connected on Facebook. You should let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I love the way you think about these things, Secular Sakai.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, especially people here, if you guys want to give us feedback or give us directions on what we do, because this is a new project and we need your feedback on what directions to take it. So we're all ears.
All right. Well, I think that answers my question. I'll send you guys a link later, and I'm excited. This is good work. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. All right. All right. We have Selva. Hi.
Hi, Armin.
Hi, how are you? Oh, by the way, thank you for buying memberships for people today.
Yeah, that was so sweet. Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem. Like that's for a gift for Armin's birthday coming in 2 days.
Oh, thank you. Oh, and we got another super chat from Lilypad again. And Lilypad LA just gave us oh, Susanna just collapsed. We got another $50 super chat from Lilypad LA saying, Happy Celestis Atheist Republic. I'll join you on future FB membership stream. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Oh my god.
Thank you.
You guys are too much.
Yeah. Thank you. Wow. God, I lost track of how many super chats we had. We're way above $1,000 today. Thank you, Lilypad.
That's
Thank
crazy.
You.
Wow.
That's awesome.
All right.
So,
okay.
So my question is like in India, like not all Hindu gods are like the same type. So, for example, is like Lord Muruga and Lord Ganesh. Like Murugan is considered to be a married god in south, but he's considered to be a bachelor god in the north. So like so on and so forth. And because of that, like now the BJP or the RSS, they are trying to paint Hindu as a common term, right? Like Hindu should be united to drive out the Muslims or the other religion. And recently, like given the state of affairs, how do you think India will be in 2024 elections coming?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
because BJP won a heavy mandate in Gujarat where the 2002 riots happened.
The elections, I'm not very optimistic, but economically, I'm optimistic about India. I think like
Armin, like economically, India will go down the Sri Lankan route. Not now, maybe in 10 years or 20 years later. Because because Modi and this gang, they are selling everything to their corporate friends. So we will go bankrupt. The government banks, we have government banks, they will go bankrupt in 10 years or 20 years. When that happens, India will go downhill.
Downhill?
Yes.
I've seen all the maybe I'm wrong about this, but I've seen more optimistic predictions about the future.
No, like the banks, they like, the second richest person, Gautam Adani, like he has like more debt ratio combined with the other top 10 billionaires in the world. He has so much debt. Whatever thing he has bought, it's with borrowed money.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No,
Sometimes,
like the bank are still giving, but they are unable to. He's unable to repay them. Even if he sells his whole assets, he will not be able to repay them.
yeah, but he might not be able to repay them now. Like, again, I don't know the details, okay, but the projects themselves might be making enough money to repay the banks. You know what I mean? Like, when you take a debt for projects, it's not because you have the money to pay the debts now. The understanding is that the future growth of these projects will pay for themselves.
Right, the farmers protest, right, which happened 2020,
Yes.
2021. So the government made 3 laws for the welfare of Adani, but they were forced to back. So now he can't continue with that food project, or the food and grain related stuff. So that project is almost being dropped now. So that's a loss of money again.
Yeah, I just think that
No.
I don't know much about
Yeah,
this. I will look.
But we are deviating from the topic. So just go
The
through on the
elections.
political format. Yeah, the elections.
The political. What do you think, Susanna? What do you think about politically? Do you think the upcoming elections? Do you think India is going to go more Hindutva or regress to mean, and things are going to be a little bit better?
Okay, so just full disclosure, I've been completely out of the loop on India for basically the past 3 months. My life has
Because
just been
Iran,
my
yes.
life is like just Iran. So I know that there have been some like very important political shakeups lately, like in the past few weeks. So that's in my awareness. Could I tell you what happened? Not really. What I do find very interesting is that in the states that don't have a sizable Muslim population, the BJP is not very successful. And what I find really interesting is a lot of analysts say is because in those areas, they do not have the ability to whip up communal hatred. And so they just straight up aren't successful and popular in those areas. And I think, I don't know, that really stands out to me. Yeah. So I'm sorry, that's really not a satisfactory answer, but
I do think Hindutva is becoming more a bigger deal in India, and I don't see that trend stopping in the foreseeable future. And I think that short term, this is going to be disastrous. Long term, I'm optimistic about India. Short term, I think tensions are going to rise. I think extremism is going to rise. I think calls for genocide is going to rise. I think calls for violence are going to rise. And it's just going to cause it's going to tear through the fabric of society for a while, right? But there's just so short term, I'm not at all seeing any bright. Maybe I'm surprised. Maybe the elections come and we're all surprised, right? But I'm not saying any bright futures for India in the short term. But long term, India is just too big to fail globally. I mean, even if it wants to fail,
powerhouse.
Even if it wants to fail, even if it tries to fail, the rest of the world would not let it. It's just too much. It's just too much. There's too much at play. There's too much, especially given how much of an important ally is India when it comes to being a superpower, a future superpower that stands with the civilized democratic world against, maybe a superpower that is China, right? It's just too important of an ally, and there's enough financial incentives long term for it to get its act in order.
Yeah, I wish I had something to add, but unfortunately, I don't have any more insight than what's already been given. So.
You're here for America, okay?
Yeah, right.
People ask me about American things, and I'm like, huh?
Yeah, I think 50 years from now we're gonna look at India and it's going to be like where we saw China. India today is where China was 50 years ago. Like I think like the future of India economically as bright as how fast China grew. So hopefully with less tyrannical tendencies, but there's a lot of money to be made out of India. And it's just the democratic. And one good thing about India is that given how hostile India is to China, it pushes it towards more liberal countries. And that's the force that we have to.
But that's the main force, because data has shown that the Indian population, even very young generations, don't actually value a lot of liberal values.
Yeah, I know that, but again, that's why I'm short term. I'm not optimistic, but I'm talking 50, 100 years. India is the future. India is the future. Yeah, I think. Anyways, Selva, what do you think? Do you have anything else you want to add?
Yeah, and one more thing regarding the U.S. elections for Kamala Harris. I really hope she doesn't be the president candidate, because if she is the president candidate, the upper caste in India will go gaga over her, and I really hate that.
Jesus Christ.
They are already going gaga over Rishi Sunak here. Like, I am really fed up.
Yeah.
No. They're like, you colonized us, we colonize you now. This is like so.
Yeah, I love that's hilarious. No, but the whole caste aspect of it is very interesting as well.
Is she high caste?
Yeah, she's a Brahmin.
Her grandmother or great grandmother, he's like her. Like, that place is near, like, less than 50 miles from my place.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. Well, I mean, the main cost of her becoming a candidate is that if she's the candidate, the Democrats will lose. So that's
exactly. That's the problem. I'm like, that's an automatic forfeiture.
Yeah, that's what you actually be worried about.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we're gonna end it here, Selva. Unless you have any other points.
No, that's all. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you again for all your support and everything.
And happy holidays, all.
Yes.
Thank you. You
Merry
too.
Christmas.
Oh.
Again, atheists, don't be afraid of saying Merry Christmas. It's not a dirty word. And Happy New Year.
And happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you. And Celestas, Christmas. What else is there? Happy New Year.
Yule.
Festivus.
Festivus.
Did you say Yalda?
No, I'm not gonna say Happy Yalda because Babak is gonna murder me.
Murder you?
all the celebrations.
Babak will cancel you.
Happy all of them except Yalda. Okay, Yalda should not be celebrated this year, but everything else can be celebrated. Okay. All right, guys. Love you guys. Thank you for your support. Thank you for everybody who donated. And guys, please do not donate. Do not donate even a single cent if you're struggling financially. Also, this Christmas, please do not buy gifts. Please do not buy gifts for anybody if you're struggling financially. Okay? You do not need to buy gifts. Do not let people pressure you into thinking like this is necessary. You need to take care of yourself financially. Don't let the Christmas spirit and all the, everything get to you. Okay? Do not spend.
Too late.
Do not spend money if you don't have it. Take care of yourself financially. This Christmas, buy yourself some financial security. And if you want to support us non-financially, because you could do that by liking the video, by subscribing, by hitting the bell notification, by leaving a comment, and by subscribing to our newsletter, which is actually good for you because you get a lot of free sexy blasphemous art if you subscribe to our newsletter every week. So subscribe to that. And all of that is free, and all of that helps Atheist Republic grow. Okay? Anyways, thank you guys, and I'm going to hit the end broadcast button now. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.